So what did you miss at Jubilee today? Well, you missed a great gathering of friends. You missed, you missed the always exciting apocalyptic readings from both Mark and Luke today. Luke's prescribed, but I like to add Mark as well. As as Jesus looks at the temple and recognizes that it will come down, and begins to tell us of how it will all end, and the portents in the sky, and nation against nation, and it's all very frightening. We heard from Isaiah too, who promised a new heaven, speaking for God, a new Jerusalem. And we wondered what these things could possibly mean, especially in light of the election in the United States, where a lot of us are shocked and afraid. We talked today in church about safety pins as a symbol, as a way of saying to people who feel frightened by the rhetoric and by the campaigning around Brexit and around the American election, people who once felt a little more secure are now afraid that funding for what they believe in is going to disappear, that justice will be taken from them, that dignity will be denied, that they will become targets of hate. And so we wear the safety pin to say to the LGBT community, to say to African Americans and Black Canadians and immigrants and refugees and those who don't fit the labels or the norms, to say that you have an ally in me. Tell me what I can do. You have a safe person in me. You can be who you are, and I will accept you. So we talked about the safety pin and its importance for some of us as a statement. And then we went back into the gospel and recognized or wondered if perhaps Jesus isn't so much talking about the destruction of the temple. Perhaps Jesus isn't talking about the end of the world and the end of all history, but recognizing that worlds end all the time, every moment. Every election causes worlds to end. Everybody who feels that their vote didn't succeed, that their hopes, that their vision didn't come to be, they die a little bit. Their vision dies, their hope dies, their dream dies. Worlds die all the time. People get calls from the doctor. Loved ones actually die. And worlds die. Worlds end all around us all the time. And this week there was a powerful ending. But Jesus tells us that these are but birth pangs, that life comes from this death. Jesus tells us that we will endure. Jesus tells us that we will have the opportunity to testify. And that's what we talked about a little bit today, is how we can testify. When somebody we know has had their world come to a crashing end because the person that they loved more than they could ever imagine loving has died, we can testify in our presence, in our making space for their grief. We testify to them that they are not alone. When someone we know retires or ends a career or loses a job, there's an end of a world there, and we can testify by being present and engaging and inviting them and assuring them that they matter, that what they have to offer is needed and will be received. They're of value. When people feel marginalized and afraid because the government or the government-to-be doesn't seem to respect them or value them, but in fact wants to scapegoat them or target them, we can testify because we can stand with them and we can fight for justice with them, and we can follow their lead. We can testify. In fact, we need to testify. We recognize that God is not bound by our politics, by our governments, by our elections, by our conditions. In fact, the one time in the Bible that Jesus relied on democracy, they voted for Barabbas. So in fact, we are in love with a God who is beyond our politics and does not leave us when the politics go wrong. And sometimes we rely too much on our governments to do what's right for us. And now is our opportunity. No matter how we may have voted in last week's election, no matter how we have felt about the results, no matter how we felt about politics in the last year around the world, now is our chance to testify, to stand up for what is right, for what is loving, what is inclusive, to stand up for the people and the things that Jesus would stand up for, stand up with. It's more important now than ever. We recognize that worlds are ending all around us, but we can endure, and they can endure, and together we can become the people that God mean us to be. That's what we talked about today at Jubilee. That's what you missed, but hopefully you'll get a safety pin, or you'll find a way to stand and endure, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon. Until we do, God bless.